In this video, we're going to be discussing why giving your audience too many calls to action, too many options at once is going to actually keep them from taking action, and how to clarify what they should be doing. Hello and welcome. Brett here with Clickmill.co. In ministry today, whether someone has been, coming to your church for 5 seconds, they just walked in the front door, they're just seeing your website for the first time, or they've been engaged with you for 50 years, we engage them the exact same way, and we tell them to do everything. Join all the things. Here are all of the options. Here's the full menu. And I don't think that this is effective in my own ministry experience, in my own marketing experience. This doesn't actually work. Now, the reason that this doesn't work is because people can't think about, say, 10 things at once, or even 5 things at once. People can think about and consider one decision at a time, one commitment at a time. As an example of this, I was just on a ministry website doing a training the other day, and there were 30 calls to action, 30 things that this ministry was asking presumably a new visitor to the website, because most times the number of people coming to a website are newer. So it's a person walking to the front door of the church. They're walking into the website and they're being presented with 30 options. Now, before I continue, a website is a great test of the clarity a ministry team has of their churchgoer journey. If the ministry team is really clear on where they're taking people and the successive steps it takes to get a person who's coming for the first time from the door to the core, as we like to say, or more specifically, the way I like to think about it is, from the door to the promised land, to the place that you're taking people on your churchgoer journey, then it's going to be reflected on the website, because it's actually really hard to break down a journey into step by step and then give people the calls to action for the step that they're on and nothing else. That's really hard to do. Instead, what you see when you go to websites is a reflection of the lack of clarity that the ministry team often has. And of course, it's not always the case. But in this case, we were doing a training. There were 30 calls to action on the website. And that's a lot of things to ask someone to do and ask them to process and think through. And the reality is people won't do that, right? You've got like 10 to 20 seconds of someone on a website, and then you give them 30 options. So I want you to process an option every 0.8 seconds. Not going to happen. That sounds, we can sit here and go, wow, oh gosh, those ministries out there that have 30 calls to action on their website, well, no wonder it's not working for them. But, let's hear what some of these are. Okay, so the user comes to the website, your website, for the first time. And what does it say? Join us online. That's a call to action, right? Join us in person. Pick a campus. If you have multiple campuses, how many campuses are you offering there? Each one's a call to action. Like us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us, go over to YouTube, check out our Instagram feed, check out our Facebook feed, come to men's group, join a Bible study, go to women's brunch, right? Come to all night prayer. And then the list goes on and on and on all the way down the page. That's 30 calls to action. And this is the majority of ministry websites. And this is a reflection, again, of the reality that we don't actually know where we're taking people, so we're just throwing everything at them at one time. So let's start to look at some solutions here and some biblical kind of, what do we actually see, let's say, Jesus doing in the Bible? Jesus goes to Gennesaret. He's doing ministry, so he's not in the front door of his church waiting for new people to go in. He's going out. He's out in Gennesaret. He's not from there. And he sees the disciples. They're having a problem. He goes to them, right? He knows who they are. Oh, these guys are fishermen. They have a problem. They didn't catch any fish. And he walks right onto their boat and he meets their need. So that's missions, right? That's outreach. And then he says, hey, if you like this, come on over here. Come to church, right? That's what we do. But what he said is, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. Now, how clear is this call to action? It's super clear, and it gives them a yes-no option. That's all they get, yes or no. And they said yes, and he said, great, let's go. he did not give them a bunch of calls to action. Can you imagine, just putting this in a different context here, or I guess contextualizing what we're doing today, can you imagine the disciples' confusion if Jesus said, follow me to men's group, but also follow me to women's group and to all-night prayer, and I want you to go like me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, subscribe on Instagram, watch online, but watch in person. I mean, can you imagine hearing them? They're like, are you okay? Is something wrong with this guy? What is he talking about? What am I really supposed to do? And they're confused. And what are they going to do? Why don't we go home? Let's go do something else because this is confusing. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to decipher the code or something. Now, this is what people in our audiences actually do. This is what people in your audience actually do. Now, I think the significant thing we can point out here is Jesus did give his audience lots of calls to action. He gave them tons of things. He told them to do lots of things, or I guess requested them and gave them the freedom of choice, right? That's a call to action. He didn't do it on the front end. See, what we do in ministry is we just say, here's all of the things we do to get you from the door to the core. Now, take all of it. Well, that's not what Jesus did. He's taking his disciples on a journey. Well, what's the end of that journey? To prepare them, not only obviously to have faith in Christ and to have salvation, but he's preparing them to uphold the church in its earliest formative days, to make them strong enough to take the sacrifice that is going to come their way. That's the goal here. These guys are going to support the church when I'm gone. So that's the journey. So the promised land is that they remain faithful. That is the goal here. Now, what did he do? The first step in that journey is, well, they've got to be my disciples. They have to follow me. So what did he say? Follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. That's the end goal, make you fishers of men. Let's say step number 2. Well, you follow me. Okay, well, we're going to go over here. Follow me out to the middle of nowhere in the Judean desert somewhere. And what are we going to do? Disciple, train. And I'm just kind of pulling things out of the hat here. But, okay, now I want you to go over to those towns and villages, and I want you to share the good news that the kingdom of God's coming. Don't take your money purse, don't take your robe, don't take your staff, whatever all the things he said, don't take work, don't take any of that stuff, and just have faith that you're going to be invited in and accepted and well received. And if you don't, then leave and knock your shoes off, knock your feet off, and get out of there and go to the next place. They're saying, wait, hold on. That's hard stuff. You're telling us that I'm not taking my coat to protect myself from the sun. I'm not taking any money. I'm not taking, whatever the things were, these things that we need on a daily basis. I can't take those. That's really hard. And now that is the step they're on. Now he had trained and discipled them enough that they could handle that step. Now he didn't tell them, and by the way, also go and die for my name. Okay, I'm out. That's too much. No. He had them do this step. He grew them for this step. He gave them the one call to action. And then what happened? They came back, training, discipleship, whatever it was. He dies. And then, right, but along the way, he's preparing them for persecution, right? Well, the world is a dark place. The world doesn't like the light. They hate the truth, right? And so, blessed are those who suffer for my name, who are persecuted, right? They're going to be rewarded. And well, wait, hold on here. You're telling me that they're going to throw rocks at me because I'm your friend, because I'm following you, I'm your disciple? Yeah, oh gosh, so that's really hard, but okay, I guess I guess we can handle this. We've got the faith for this, right? And so again, one call to action at one step. And what happens? Jesus dies, he rises again, he was resurrected, he ascends into heaven. And what do these guys do? They're capable of reaching the promised land because they went through the journey step by step. And now the last thing that can kind of be said on that, at least for this video, is that the calls to action are increasing in succession in terms of the trust and commitment required of the audience. Jesus didn't call his disciples to die for him the moment he said, hey, I just met you, come die for me. I'm out of here. This guy's crazy. No, just follow me. I'll make you disciples. I'll teach you. I'll train you. I'll give you a better life. Okay. He already made my life better with this 2 boatloads of fish. I believe him. Let's go. I can trust him. I can commit to that. And then the next thing is like, hey, okay, this is harder, but you trust me now. You built a relationship with me now, so you can trust me. You can commit to this. Okay. So the trust and the commitment increases. So how do you send somebody to, Jordan or Iraq or Yemen? Well, you have to disciple and train and disciple and train until they can actually make that commitment. And so that is how the churchgoer journey works. Now, how do you apply this to your ministry? 2 things that you want to do. All right. Number 1, to get your audience to take action, you have to know where you're taking them because you have to be clear. So number 1, spend some time in prayer. Spend some time with your ministry team or with your whoever it is that you work with at your church, and say, God, where are we taking these, our church? Where are we taking our audience? What is the journey? But specifically the end goal, the promised land. Okay. And, a good question maybe to ask to really kind of boil that down is, how does the world look? When our church is long gone in 100 years or 50 years or, hopefully not shorter than that, but, when our church is over and done, what does the world look like? How is the world different? How is the world a better place? And that should give you some idea of the journey God has you on, and identify the promised land, right? It's a land flowing of milk and honey. There's green, there's grapes the size of your face. What does it look like? If you're going to ask your audience to hike Mount Everest, to go to this promised land, the view from the top had better look good. They better understand this, or at least you had better understand that it looks really beautiful, right? You can see everything from this place, right? We're going to hike this mountain, but the view, let me tell you, you won't believe it. So with, you get clear on the end goal. What's the world look like when you're done? What does this place that you end up look like? All right. And then work backwards. What are the steps that you would have to take to get there? And if you've been there, what are the steps that you took? If you have audience members who are already in this place, reverse engineer their journey. Look at it and say, what steps did they go through that prepared them appropriately to be here, where we want everybody else? And then line it out and say, okay, and I personally like to work backwards from it. Like, what's the step that I have to do to get from the 9th step to the promised land, like the 9th to the 10th? I like to work backwards, but forward or backwards, identify the steps that get people there that have already worked in the past. Don't stop now. We have tons of other videos for you to watch and learn how to reach more people more effectively. If you love this video and you don't want to miss out on what we have coming up for you next, go ahead, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to keep up to date with our newest content. If you want to work with Clickmill personally, head on over to clickmill.co, where you can learn more about our proven ministry marketing strategies. I look forward to seeing you in the very next video.